sense. Hey guys, welcome to the second round of a sneak peek at version 0.29. That sounds pretty lame, but that's the version numbers. What am I going to do about it? Basically, we're going to do an update with all the ships. Oh, I forgot. I'm wearing a t-shirt. It's Shrek. That's not as cool as some of the other t-shirts that had a story behind them. I guess I worked at DreamWorks Animation for 10 years, so I have a Shrek shirt. So one thing that I'm really bummed about is that Brendan just put in right underneath this thing right here all the models of the ships. Like we have now images of them, but because I'm streaming at 1280 by 720, which is really small because I'm worried that my internet connection sucks, he made it so that they don't show up in this resolution. But if I go to my ship, look at that. Oh, it's a Tech A, and see how it's got this cool little thing? And because it's a bigger one, they get smaller and smaller. And it's not just that we scale them, but we change the outline or whatever. So that's cool. You'll also note that the remote power that I have is gonna break soon. Its probability is 1 in 5 almost that it's gonna break. So I think that's new. I don't think we had that before. I get a little confused now. And of course this overload right here, notice that there isn't even a number here and there's no way for me to switch it out. That is a permanent upgrade that comes on some of the tech ships if you find it. And I showed that off last week, and I figured I'm gonna do the same thing this week because I'm super tempted to show you all the new permanent upgrades, but I feel that would be kind of lame. I don't know, maybe the people that tune into the stream, I mean, there's not too many of you. Maybe you guys don't care about spoilers. Well, you obviously don't care too much about spoilers because I kind of spoil a lot of crap, but I kind of wanted to leave some things for you guys to find. So trust me that there are a few, I think there are actually 3 or 4 other permanent upgrades that you can find on the various ships. However, one of them is kind of lame at the moment, so I think I'm going to remove it until we fix it up, make it a little bit better. But yeah, Fallout 4 is good. That's a good sign. So let's see what else that we've added. I actually should have a nice list of things that we've added, but I don't. So I'm just gonna go through and try and guess. So if you look down here, propulsion 3 out of 6 +1. So it used to be a single number, and then it would be +1. This is your reserve because you can build those up by finding it. And this 3 out of 6 means that you have 3 propulsion left out of a total of 6. So every time I jump, I recharge to a full 6. And what this implies is that maybe if you commandeer a different ship, that number can be different. And this can affect things quite a bit. So you might be able to get a ship that, let's say it was out of 7 or out of 8. That means that every time you jump, you get an extra 2 days worth of travel, which can mean an entirely another ship that you can visit, which is kind of a big deal. And of course I'm trying to balance things out so that the ships that tend to have extra propulsion don't tend to have extra upgrade slots, and the ships that tend to have extra upgrade slots don't tend to have a large scrap capacity. You'll notice on my ship, we should put it here, we should totally put it here, but right now on my ship, if you look at this scrap, the maximum scrap I can have, oh, this is messed up. So when you drop to the resolution of 1280 by 720, some of the UI stuff gets a little crazy, which is ironic because I stream in it. But see how I have a maximum 50 scrap, and so I can't go over that. And right now I'm fine because I only have 2 scrap. But so ships that tend to have, and as I tool around here, you can see right here the scrap capacity. That's one we give you for free. We kind of let you know, oh, okay, this thing has 117 down here because it's a barge A, so that thing can carry a lot of scrap. So if you commandeer that, you'll have a high scrap max. So you can kind of keep, scrapping things and building up this reserve of scrap for when things don't go right. I know it's hard to believe that things could not go right. Let me know also if the volume is not good on this. So that's one that we kind of give you for free there, so that you can you'll just kind of know when you visit things. So there's a variety of things. So let's go to a, can't commandeer a space station, that's not fun. Let's go to one of these barges. Sure, barge B. So, alright, let me board. Oh, okay, so, oh, this is weird, hold on. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Could there be a bug? Look at this. I have a tech ship. Oh, okay, I'm an idiot. So what this really is when I go here to board, we're boarding a barge, and the barge class B looks like this. And the barge class... Oh, this says it's class C. Is it C or B? Oh, God. Okay, it's C. I'm sorry. And then as it gets bigger, there are more hulls and there's more stuff with this outline. It's just a little cool stuff that says these ships are actually different and they feel different. So you still have all the information you had before with the hull integrity and all that stuff that matters on the mission, but then the scrap capacity matters if you commandeered it. And now that might be a little confusing to new players because they might be like, oh, this means this thing has more scrap, which it doesn't. It just means that it can hold more. And so as you do the mission, this you get for free, and some of the other information you get as you're exploring the derelict. So let's just go down there, and we'll try to. I guess we'll commandeer this thing, but I kind of want to show off overload. I do have remote power, so let's just see who we got here. We got Mouse, Brendan, and Kyle. Let me just put you on there. All right, we've got a stealth, a gather, a tow, and a motion. Alright, we can deal with that. Okay, so here's something. Three. So, obviously we know right now that there are 2 infestation types detected, and one of those might be a swarm, and that would be kind of yucky, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to motion... Okay, so there's something bad in here. Now with the overload, what I can do is I can take electronics equipment... This is a super small ship. This isn't going to be a really good example. I can take electronics equipment and I can fry it. Oh, I can also remote power R2. Just because of a regular upgrade. Yeah, this is a tiny ship. Okay, because it's such a small ship, I guess I can overload that. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to overload R2. And what that's going to do is it's going to take that power inlet and it's just going to overload it with electricity. And that's going to cause it to kind of blow up, right? Okay, so that just blew up, and now there's nothing in R2 because it died in that sort of explosion. Now here's where it gets kind of interesting, and I don't want this to be any spoilers because people can kind of discover some of this stuff from themselves, so just go la 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 for about like 1 minute, and I'll explain it. But, so when I open up this door, I will bet that what this was in here was a swarm. And the reason I think that... I was totally wrong. It was totally a patrol bot. So the reason that I thought that was generally swarms, there are a lot of them, but they're really weak. Brutes are really strong, and patrol bots are somewhere in the middle. So there was odds either way that it could destroy a patrol bot. It's probably incredibly unlikely that it would kill a brute, and a swarm is very likely. So basically, you can not only use this to attack things. I mean, I sacrificed the power here. You see how these 2 rooms are not powered? And if I didn't have power in these 2 rooms, that would really suck, because you don't want to generally fry a power inlet. But I sacrificed that to clear the enemy out, right? Yeah, they're all. But you can also use that, a little bit of deduction now, to figure out like what kind of enemy that was. And I was totally wrong. So maybe you can't take that to the bank. But I would have bet good money that it wasn't a brute. So, I don't know. I think it's cool that not only is it a different way to approach the problem, and adds some variety. Oh, now I can't open up D9. Oh, but I can just get these out of here and open up D6. Come on, John. You can do it. Alright, D7. Yeah. Ah, get out of the way, dude. Alright. Whoop. Okay. So that's clear. D5. Going on in. Okay, nothing. Alright, so now, if I was going to commandeer the ship, actually, commandeering the ship would be silly, because, see, it has no upgrade slots and no upgrades whatsoever. Also, and this is probably a bug, I don't think it has like a fuel access point. So that's another thing that you can check out. So hold on, let me end. Let's get out of here. It's Lamesville. But that kind of starts to show up some of the variety in the in some of these ships. So hold on, let me jump. How many jumps do I have? I have 2. All right, let me go over here. A barge C. Sure, why not, right? We can do that. I think... Actually, I'm going to jump to this private ship. The reason why is, number 1, because I know that private... Oh, no, I don't want to do that. I don't want to spoil things. Well, maybe I won't. So, the private ship, I know, kind of has a mishmash of things. It's kind of... It might have a random one of the permanent upgrades, or it might have 0 permanent upgrades. But it's private class A, or class A. So that means that it's going to be really big. And because it's private, I also know, just because ships have tendencies, that it's going to be on 1 or 2 power grids. And if everything's powered, then it's easy for me to use the overload, because then I have multiple rooms that are all powered. So we're going to do that. Another thing that I wanted to note that we just added, when you guys go and grab, or you know what, I'm not going to say anything. Maybe I'll be able to show it instead of telling it. But yeah. So here you can see the outline of the private ship, which is a little sleeker, a little cooler. And it's got a scrap capacity of 33, so if I commandeer this vessel, I get less scrap capacity, if that makes any sense. Okay, hold on, let me scroll up in the chat. And Twitch's chat is horrible. See, every time someone comments, this is the problem with the chat, is that every time someone comments, it all goes flying up. I'm so confused, Robot Massacre, on what you're trying to say to me with remove the armor to move faster and all this kind of stuff going on. Fusion cores. One fixed module fired from the 3 interchangeable slots. I'd rather go with traits. Okay, I'm getting a little lost. Maybe this is really boring to see me read through. What if you have defenses on your ship where enemies get to your ship and someone commented and I lost it? And you have to kill them or escape. Yeah, that's kind of a time thing that would happen. It might be interesting, but the problem is that it doesn't fit in the mold right now, and so everything that we do like that would have to be kind of somewhat dynamic, and it's just that much more work. So it's like we're trying to find interesting ways that we can adapt the game and create a lot of variety without introducing completely extraneous things. And also, there is a sense of isolation that I'm trying to get at, and even having, I know that there are enemies in the game, but they're all really dumb, so having an invading enemy might just create that other intelligence that's doing something active toward you, and it might make you feel less alone in the universe. Kind of some hippy-dippy stuff there. The cannon ship upgrade, who told you about that? That's not cool. That's one of the ones that I was saving, so you guys, maybe, did I tell you guys about that? Did I open my big mouth? Oh, that's not good. Future branch should be soon. This stuff should be, I wanted to push it out today, honestly, but it just doesn't look like that's possible because I've got oh god, this is a huge ship. Did I do that? Did I just do a huge ship? I can already hear a swarm. There are 2 infestation types on this. So commandeering this thing is going to be, like, really tough to do. Do we have an interface? We do not. Who has the motion, though? Okay. Let's see what we got. So just because we have overload... Ooh. Or, not status. Info. Oh, look at this. So this is a permanent upgrade called Decontaminate. And I'm not telling you guys what it does. Well, about that. So right now we know that in R3 we can basically use overload as like a weapon. Another cool thing about overload is that it's based on proximity. So in a small room that has like 2 room items that you could overload, that's going to create a lot of damage. Whereas if it's a huge room and there's just a terminal over in the corner, the odds that you're going to do a lot of damage to an enemy isn't so good. If that makes any kind of sense. This looks like a relatively clean room. It's kind of funny because now I almost consider, when I have overload, I almost start to consider terminals as just kind of like bombs in a way. So, like mines. So it's like I kind of want to see them even though I don't have a stealth. And that's actually maybe even better. I mean, even though I don't have a, whatever it's called. Not stealth. What's the other one? Interface. So here's another interesting thing. See how I just found the power inlet? So when you commandeer a ship, it's got a lot of attributes, but one of those, if we do info right now on the fuel, we can see that the fuel charge max is 7. So remember how I said before that we had a total of 6? So this ship has 7, which is even cooler. So that means that we get an extra fuel every time we recharge, and that might be the difference between being able to visit an extra derelict in a system and not. So that's kind of like, hey, I kind of want to grab this thing, right? But yeah. Just thought of an idea. If you have base defense for your ship, when your enemies get to your ship, you either have to kill them all or escape pod, but lose all ship upgrades and scrap them doing so. So I actually had an idea. See how like we commandeer the ship? I actually had an idea a long time ago that like, yeah, when you were traveling, something could board your ship. This was back when you were a smuggler. And you'd have to defend it, and it would be the same ship layout and all that stuff, so you'd know where things were, and maybe you could even lay defenses, and that adds a whole nother dimension to the game, but again, it adds a whole nother dimension to the game, so it's a lot to code, and then if people didn't like it, that aspect of the game, then it would be like, oh, I hate it when people try to board my ship because it's lame. So I haven't done it yet. But back to kind of commandeering. So this ship is looking good and bad. It's looking good because it's got a cool ship upgrade that's permanent called Decontaminate, and I would lose my other one. I would lose Overload because it's a permanent ship upgrade, but I'd get Decontaminate, and it also has one more fuel charge, which is kind of a big deal. And my stealth is gonna run out. Oh, and there's an open door. Okay. Oh, here's something new too. If I run into a swarm. Nope, haven't run into a swarm, but I got... look at this. Remote power and reroute power. One of them is at 8.59%. One is at... So the reroute power is a little bit on the hurting side, and the remote power has got a little bit of goodness to it. So all of a sudden, I only have one extra slot. This thing... wait a minute. How do we have 2? Ship upgrade, what? Is that? That looks like that's a bug. It looks like they're like 2 ship upgrades like stacked on top of each other, which is a little bit kooky. I don't know what's going on there. Whoop. Wait. Okay, there's a bug. Every now and then when I activate my stealth, it doesn't show me activated. Oh god. Oh god. See, I just bumped into him, and he's gonna fire at me soon because no, he's not. Yeah, he is. Like, he's on my case because I was stealthed, but I bumped into him. I can't get by him. Okay. So what we can do is close D18, overload R11. And yay, he's dead. So I was actually lucky there because sometimes it won't necessarily kill a patrol bot. But this is kind of the power of the new upgrade. And you couldn't find an overload upgrade everywhere. It's generally going to be on certain types of ships, and it's generally going to be only on some of those ships. So hopefully these things are cool enough. What if probes could go into vents? That's an idea that we have on our list of things to do. I don't know if we'll get to that. Oh, got it. The power armor, Fallout 4. Alright, I'm with you now. Kettle module to boil water. Yeah, see, there you go. Alright, we could do that. We could name it Kettle, and then everybody will get the joke, I'm sure. The upgrades are in the same spot because of a bug, I think. See how they're kind of on top of each other and they're creating this really weird pattern? Did I go in? So D18 is now clear, I think. Right? Unless there's a vent in there. So I'm going to open up D26 and we're going to get to the bottom of this mystery right here. Because Kyle can tow. Actually, I'm going to check this room first. Okay. So I'm kind of excited about this update because it changes the way that you play the game a little bit. We haven't had like a lot of new... Yeah, see? To remote. I don't even know how to do this because they're literally on top of each other. So I do remote power underscore 25. Wow, Tim, you don't even know how to play your own game. Tow. Oh, not a basic command apparently. Advanced drone upgrades. Tow. The object name will be item name. Right. Oh god. Oh god. Oh god. They just kill him? They did. D18. Alright, so I know that they're trapped in the room that I want to be in. Oh god. Ah, they're everywhere. Oh no. Oh. I think there was a vent here, and maybe they spawned and came around here, and maybe there was a vent in here, I don't know. Basically, Tim wasn't cautious at all, and now he is trapped. Drone 3, what's up? Okay, I do have a remote power. No, I don't have a remote power, because I commandeered the ship, and I forgot to move my upgrade into the available slot. Is that what happened? Or do I not have... No, I didn't have remote power? I don't even know. What happened? Bad things happen, and I can see if things are around me. Oh, that's cute. I can't even do that. Okay, so Tim just got totally screwed. I was going to show you guys the stealth now reacts differently when you are using... Sorry. When you're doing a stealth through a swarm, the swarm reacts much differently. We've kind of nerfed stealth a little bit. It used to be that stealth was just... You could go anywhere and do anything when you had stealth. Oh. And now there's a swarm in R14 and wants to eat my face. So it looks like no matter what, everybody's going to die. Meet your fate, Kyle. So the swarm reacts differently now to the stealth. When you go through a swarm with stealth on, they'll really slow down and then they'll start looking for you, but they won't necessarily attack until they find you. So you can kind of run through and get the hell out of there. Yeah, disable swarms. Yeah, I would just have it under difficulty there. Just the little options, difficulty, which we turn off when you're in the thing, and just disable enemies. Disable. We do have an easier mode, but the swarms are still in there, and they're still bastards. Yes, okay, so I was also going to show you guys the new commandeer menu, and I'm actually going to cheat right now and show it to you. See how what we do is we list out the things that your ship has, and we list out the things that the ship that you're trying to grab has. So you can see here, and we're also coloring it to make life a little bit easier. So we're going to lose some scrap capacity because this only has 33. It has the same number of ship upgrades. It has 2, and but it has an extra P fuel charge, so that makes it a little bit better. Okay, so this makes absolutely no sense because, yeah, we're gonna die. So we died. Yay, death. Yeah. Reset. So that kind of shows off some of the new stuff. What else we got? Generate Galaxy. We've added a bunch of things. Most of them, again, are focused around... Oh, here's another one that I want to show you guys. Ooh, look at the new icons. So nobody really understood that outposts were outposts. So outposts are basically... and I don't know if you guys can see this on your monitor, but basically there is a blue outline here that shows kind of like an asteroid or a celestial body of some sort. And on that is the outpost. So we've got a new icon for the outpost that looks more like an outpost. And we've got this line around here. There were also orbiting lines. I don't know if you guys can see them, but they're really faint, but there are these orbit lines. And what we wanted always was we wanted to show you that these things were orbiting and moving in space, right? And it feels right when you're calculating out your trajectory to take into account the motion of the satellite object or derelict or whatever. And before they were really faint and they were moving in like every different direction, so it looked kind of crazy. So now we have them generally, assuming that there is a large body somewhere, we're trying to make it so that their orbits aren't like just cuckoo-cuckoo with one going this way and one going that way and one going this way. So you can see how they're not completely uniform, of course, but they're all like you would imagine that there being a heavy gravitational pull way off to the left and up here, which kind of makes some sense. So that's a nice to have that, we want to add all these touches as we go, but we rarely have time because we're always trying to add in all sorts of stuff. So right now we are on a Tech B that has 2 slots. I don't have the upgrade that allows you to go to outposts, so that's not an option. So we go to this barge, or we go to this barge. Interesting. So one thing I also want to show you guys, look at this. Fuel Depot B. So I was getting a lot of stuff where everybody was like, or at least new players were really confused and they were dying because they ran out of fuel. Which isn't the most fun way to die. It's a little bit more fun to get sucked out into space or have a swarm chew your face off, even though you're drones and you don't have faces. Maybe they do. Maybe the drones do have faces. But people, I made it so that it tended that space stations had more fuel. But people weren't getting that. So I've now made a fuel depot. And the fuel depot tends to have more fuel. So I'm hoping that this will be for the new player, making them realize that there are spots that they can go to get more fuel, or that they can go out of their way to because they're running out of fuel, and plan their trip around. And then hopefully that will also inform them that these ships and ship types do have tendencies, and those tendencies, it's good to play a bunch and kind of get a feel for the tendencies. And I think the permanent upgrades and stuff will really reinforce that. But yeah. Yeah, so events are a thing, and we used to not have events on the schematic, and now they are on the schematic map, so that kind of warns you, like, hey, there's something going on here, like, why is this vent here? And then hopefully you'll see a swarm come out, and when you die first time, that might feel cheap, I guess, but then after that, you're like, okay, I gotta be careful if I'm in a ship that has vents, and I've determined that the enemy type aboard the ship, one of those is swarms. That's when you have to be really afraid. Actually, if you haven't determined the enemy types, you should also be afraid, because caution is good. Yeah. So one thing that I think I'm going to do to make that a little bit friendlier on new players is when a swarm comes out of a vent, I'm going to make it so that right now there are about 20 of them. Actually, there are exactly 20, which I want to vary up as well. But so there are about 20 of them. There are exactly 20 of them. And I want like maybe 2 or 3 will come out at first. And they might attack you, but they won't hurt you as bad because there's only 3 of them. And when you leave the room, they won't leave the entire swarm. They'll hang around that vent until the rest of them spawn. So that will give you like a little bit of breather room, because I feel like almost everything in this game, outside of swarm spawning, radiation, those are the 2 things right now that don't give you a warning. And so I'm trying to give you more warning. And so the swarm will give you a little bit more warning. Radiation, I don't know how much warning I want to give you, but now you have ways of countering radiation and dealing with radiation, and upgrading ship upgrades so that you can see which rooms are likely to flood with radiation. Maybe a permanent upgrade on a drone that's like a Geiger counter that crackles when you're in a room that's likely to flood with radiation, stuff like that. Yeah. Camera view on the drone, that's something that we would love to add in, but it just adds a lot of work. And a lot of people say, oh, you can have all these grainy filters on it and stuff like that. And it would make the game a lot creepier. But it would just add a lot of work. Also, there's a foreignness to this game where you can't see exactly what's going on and you don't know exactly what's around the corner. And even though that would make it creepier, I think that would that would approximate the way that we see the world a lot, and that might go against that kind of grain of the game. But at the end of the day, it's just a lot of effort for that return, so I don't think we're going to have time. Maybe post-launch, if the game is doing incredibly well. Speaking of the game doing well, go tell your friends this game's awesome, because that would really help me, as we head into the holiday season, because I am not going to discount the game, I don't think. I don't know, not completely determined, but I've been kind of holding the price and not dropping it, because I feel that the people who came in early, they paid $20, and so why shouldn't everyone else pay $20? I'm also this whole race to the bottom thing that I'm trying to, make my little stand on, because Dan Edelman did a piece on it, and I think that's kind of cool. Things like that. So I'm not sure. I'll post on the forums when I reach a final decision, but I'm pretty sure that I'm just going to throw out early access, not discount the game, and just be like, this is the game, this is the price. If you want to wait, and that's fine. But yeah. But anyway, so go tell everyone this game is awesome so you can help my sales, because they are not as strong as they were at the beginning. I don't want to keep making this game. Tow certain stuff, metal boxes, furniture, and stuff like that to block vents. That would be really cool. That's part of my whole, hey, these are systems that are interacting, right? And we want those systems to interact. So to be able to drag over something out of the way and put it over a vent would be really cool. One of the only problems with that is then you could tow, like if there was something that was blocking a path, you could then tow that. And I kind of like it sometimes when paths are blocked, because it forces you to change your strategy a little bit. So it could be that we could have towable crates and crates that, like things that are just broken that you just can't tow. So that would kind of solve that. People also want the welder upgrade, that you could weld a door shut, and you could, so that the swarms couldn't chew through, and you could weld the vent shut. It would basically be the anti-swarm upgrade, which apparently if people are frustrated with the swarms, that could be a good thing. And there are other instances where I'm thinking I could maybe make the welder useful, so we might add a welder upgrade. Yay, you paid it twice. I have no idea why you paid it twice. Maybe you bought it for a friend. That's really cool. I'm so behind on the chat, I confuse myself sometimes. Oh, you weren't requesting first person. You're saying the drone has a camera in the front. Oh, maybe that's for the face comment when I say you can't chew its face off. Is that what you're saying? But yeah, that makes sense. That does have the camera in the front because you're seeing the data visualization of that camera. So, sorry about that. Could we be able to use bombs to blow up boxes? Yes! So one of the things I really want to do, I'm going to write that down because I think I already have that somewhere. So we have the trap upgrade. So one of the things about the trap upgrade, I think it's a really useful upgrade, but some people don't, and you can remotely detonate it. So I think it would be really useful to place in front of a bunch of debris, drive into the other room, detonate it, and then come through, and then it clears a path. I think that would be it's always nice for everything in the game to have multiple purposes. That way, the combinations of things that can happen and the systems that can interact with each other. I also at one point wanted it that if you could put one close to a door and blow it up, then maybe it could create like a vacuum. I don't know. Or maybe another thing that we were thinking is that if this is another one. A detonation could trigger radiation. So there's also the idea that maybe when so the radiation, the idea is that there's, and I know it's a stupid way of doing it, but the idea is there's all these pipes running through, the ship, right? And basically when the ship shifts and things happen and it's an older ship, then those pipes can burst or break and then radiation can flood. I know it's kind of contrived, but it's what I got. So I think the game mechanic of the radiation is useful. So if you're setting off bombs and you're detonating things and you're firing your Gatling gun and stuff like that, then it could also trigger that in theory. So we already have it that if you're firing your Gatling gun in a room and like a terminal is behind the enemy or whatever, then that terminal could get destroyed. So I think it would be really cool if detonating a trap could do more things, but also came with the risk of triggering some radiation. The audio is way behind on the game, but one thing I really want to do, we're working on right now, is adding a ship creak that you hear through the drone mic. And the problem is that when you hear things through the drone mic, and this is the problem with the audio in the game, it's very complex. So when you hear things through a tinny filter, they sound really weird. And I didn't want it to sound like a monster groaning or something. I wanted it to sound like the ship, the hull moving. So to reinforce that, what I'm going to do is, in theory, I'm going to play the sound. You're going to hear it through the drone mic, and then a second or two later, you'll hear it around you, like you're in your cockpit, and the ship is shifting. And that's causing your ship to shift a little bit, and so then you can hear the reverberation of that creak, or that, like, not really the reverberation, but just the fact that it transferred into your ship and caused it to creak. And so then you'll be like, oh, that wasn't a monster roaring, that was the ship creaking, and then hopefully that'll be clear. I said all of that because what's really cool is if that's a warning sign for radiation. So I'm trying again to give warning signs of things, and also create these Pavlovian responses so that if, let's say 75% of the time when the ship creaks, it's causing the ship to adjust and then radiation starts leaking. That means not only do you have a warning when that creak happens, you're like, oh God, like what's going on? Like let me go to the schematic view and make sure I'm prepared, or close doors or something like that. But also when the ship creaks, sometimes it won't trigger radiation, and so that'll just freak you out and you'll be like, Tim's a dick, and that would be funny. So that's a really good question. I think if you did a weld on a door, you would make it invincible to a swarm. I think if it just made it harder to break, that would be, I don't think it would be nearly as useful. I guess what you're saying there is that another question is, can you pry open a welded door? My answer would probably be no, but for the game's sake, that would be powerful if you had a welder and a pry, so you could weld doors and know that later on you could still pry them open. So I think from a gameplay perspective, being able to pry open welded doors, it makes sense. Trap Bustler, clean ship, dirty floor. That's right. That's a good combo. Did you see the comment about the docked ship having a wall you can move through? I did not. The docked ship having a wall you can move through. Did you get the chance to check out Dead Knots? They have a nice approach to the extra information on the ship. I have not. I played it briefly. I downloaded it really quickly one night, and I tried to play it really briefly, and unfortunately, I think, and I knew I shouldn't have done it, I played it on my TV, and I have a keyboard mouse combo on my TV, but I'm very far away, and so I was just really confused, which is the exact same way I would be if I was playing my game. If I was playing Duskers, I would be really confused at the beginning, so I was trying to move people around, but I wasn't completely understanding what was going on, so what I really need to do is just play it on my PC, and I don't know if there's a tutorial or anything like that, but like go through that. So yes and no is the answer to Dead Knots. Yeah. Yes, brutes are tough. They may survive a single trap. They may survive a single mine. That's a fun thing to find out. Why are drones so sensitive to radiation? Because if they weren't, the game would be worse. And actually, we made them less sensitive to radiation. We made it so that now they only tick down, like, I think 2 per second or something like that, until it's completely flooded. And when it's completely flooded, they tick down, like, 4 or 5 or something like that. I don't know. Yeah, see, electronics are susceptible to radiation. I had stealth, and the lure was near a docking bay. The radiation kind of wrecks anything that moves. It's the back wall. Why didn't I open the airlock first then? I don't have the log from the guy that got sucked into the shrink wrapper. Yeah, that one's kind of funny. So actually, that's another thing, and I'm going to get back to the game in a second. But we are working on the story, and not this update, but the next update, we should have some of the new story stuff in. A lot of the color logs right now are just that. They're color logs, and we want to integrate them. We want to weave them better into the story of this world, and we haven't done a great job of that. So that'll be a new thing that we're doing. Oh, one more thing that you can't see right now. See these ship slots? Guess what, kids? They can break down too. So now we have, in the mod menu, ship, repair ship upgrade slot. So this is yet another thing that can break. Yay! So why are we doing this? Basically, the idea is that we, just like we want you to cycle through upgrades, and we kind of want you to cycle through drones, but people get attached to drones, and I can understand why, so that's why we allow you to repair them. And so with the ship, we also want you to cycle through ships. We want the ship to take some wear and tear. And you're going to see that in the fact that the schematic starts to wink out, and then in the fact that these upgrade slots will start to go yellow, orange, and break, right? And you can repair them, you can sink your scrap into repairing them, or you can commandeer a new vessel. And this is just another way of us saying you're in a world where everything's junky and everything's breaking down, and you're going to have to make decisions, hopefully interesting decisions, whether you are going to go commandeer a new vessel, or if you're in an area that doesn't have any new vessels, then you're going to maybe sink your scrap into repairing your ship until you get to an area where you can have a new ship. Or you're going to say, you know what, I don't have any ship upgrades anyway, and so, or I don't care about them, so I'm not going to sink any money into that. So the ship upgrades, so drone slots don't break. The only thing that goes on a drone is the video signal. But I don't want to kill off your drones because I'm more personally attached to the drones than the ship. So there. Is there anything? Excuse me. Oh, the fuel depot. So yeah. So hey, let's do that. Let's travel to the fuel depot just so you guys can see a fuel depot, even though it's not that crazy. Whoa! There's a bug. I'm just gonna take a screenshot of that. Did that work? Did it screenshot? No? Yes? Maybe? Okay. It probably did. So that's a bug. I have no idea why that bug came up. Alright. Oh, wow. 251. We're running out of time, guys. Alright, let's go through this thing. So in theory, this is where we would have gone if we needed to get some, so you can't commandeer, get out of the way, Aaron. You can't commandeer space stations and fuel depots. It kind of makes sense. I think it makes sense. So the fact that it has an upgrade is cool because we can tow it out of here anyway, but if it was a permanently installed upgrade, you wouldn't be able to do anything with it, which would just frustrate you, and everyone would be upset. But as it is, we get to grab a ship surveyor and bring it back, so that's good. Now to show that I'm not a liar, what do we got? Lure, gather, generator, stealth. Ooh. Alright. You know what? We're gonna make drone 1, whose name is Aaron, really powerful. There you go, drone 1. Alright. Alright, so let's do this. Alright, we got a lure, gather, and a stealth. Nav 1, R3. Make sure the drone 2 gets out of the way. Tweaky, come on, man. Now what I'm looking for is, ooh, a turret. A defense turret. That doesn't help. Alright, D34. There is two enemy types in here. I'm gonna drop a lure. You know what I should have done? Did I just get the lure? Or have I had that for a while? Anybody want this yummy piece of meat? I guess I should be more careful because there could be... Oh, yeah, exactly. It's friggin' patrol bot. Who doesn't give a rat's ass about a lure? This view is kind of cool. It's really weird looking. I'm gonna lose a lure, aren't I? Damn it. I don't want to lose that lure. Oh, I got enough of them. Alright. Goodbye. Ah, I lost my lure and I broke that thing that I can't use. Oh well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to find... How big is this thing? This is type B. Okay, I'm going to find the fuel access point just to prove to you guys that fuel depots tend to have more fuel. D18. Stealth activated. Oh, goody. That's a bug. If a guy gets sucked out into space, then he probably doesn't leave scrap in his wake. Because that would have gotten sucked out into space too. Alright. Do I still have the overload? Or do I not? I don't. I have nothing. Nobody likes me. Alright. Opening up the door to... Oh, you know what I'm going to do? First I'm going to gather, because even though it's cheap, I want that scrap. Then I'm going to dock at A9. I'm going to pick up... I'm going to go stealth into R4. Bam. Look at this. That looks cool. That looks like the entrails or exoskeleton of some weird-ass creature. Oh, what's up, Rick? Yes. Life is good. Alright. Mine in motion. Alright, good to know. Still looking for this fuel access point here, kids. Oh wait, I can open up D20 now. Nav. Or actually, ready for it? What do I get? I have an alias for this. Is it grab? This is cool. This is making me happy. Watch this. I actually got taught this by people on the forums. This is a cool alias. How cool is that? Programming. It's really funny that we created this alias structure, and then I'm so busy designing that I never come up with any cool aliases. Alright. A5 stealth. D30. Let's go. Ooh. Don't have remote power. Alright. We'll come back to that. You wanna know what the alias is? Here, check this out. Whoop. Navigate, well, I always put it on drone 3. I always have my toe on drone 3, so it's navigate 3. So basically, if I call this from drone 1, whatever room he's in, drone 3 is now gonna navigate to, then he's gonna tow, and you have to issue it to, like, with drone 3, because you're gonna issue the command from drone 1, so you have to specify 3. Then navigate 3 to R1, and then tow 3, and he'll let go. Pretty cool, huh? Makes me happy. Do I have stealth on? So stealth isn't as overpowered as it used to be, but I still treat it like it is. So I have to be really careful sometimes when I just willy-nilly open up doors with stealth. Because if it's a small room and I go in it and there's an enemy in and I bump into them, they're gonna say, happy day. Okay. Oop. Okay, stealth wore out. Alright. Here we go. Lure. Oh, crap. We're gonna put the lure on you. You get a mine and a lure. Alright, we're gonna lure them over here. D32. And what's gonna happen, of course, this is gonna be a friggin' patrol bot, right? Nope. There we go. Alright. You know what I should have done? Because if I had been smart, I would have put a mine down on top of the lure so that when he went to it, it goes boom. But I'm not that smart, apparently. But you know what I can do? Check this out. Lure. Mine. Mine. That might take care of him. Alright. So when he finishes with one lure, they're ever hungry. Aha, here we go. Alright, ready? Is Tim worth his weight in gold? Gathering fuel. One. Yeah! Yeah, we got one of each, and you can get two. You can get 2 jump fuel and 2 propulsion. So they're not guaranteed to have it. They just have a higher probability. So Tim is not a giant liar face. And actually, now what we can do, it doesn't matter because it's a fuel depot, but I'll do the info anyway. And look at this. Max fuel charge is 4, which would really suck to commandeer anyway. But it makes sense. The fuel depot doesn't... Nah, that kind of doesn't make any sense. But I put it really low because you can't commandeer the ship anyway, and I wanted to make sure people didn't. Ahaha! Look at this. Guess who went to eat Hitler and then died a horrible death? We have a new drone model that we haven't put in yet. Not drone model. A new model for the brute when he dies. Yeah, so that's good. Yeah. Yeah, hey, one of each is more fuel, man. Usually you get 0-0, so... Like I said, not more fuel, higher probability, but you can get 2. Which I don't think you can get on, like a military vessel, let's say, or whatever. So yeah. Wow, lots of generators. I guess it's 3 o'clock. I should maybe wrap things up, but I kind of feel like... Well, we can't commandeer the ship. We can't turn on the ship defenses. And we've already been in... Have we already been in R5? We have, because this door is open. And there's no vent in there, so I'm not scared. Unless... What have been the enemies in here? A brute, and a patrol bot, right? That's the haps. So I'm not worried about vents. Is that what's going on? Because there's only 2? Yep. This is... I joke around that this game is kind of like a completionist murder machine. Because you're like, oh, dude, one more room. I can do one more room. Or there's only 1 room left in the damn ship. And you're just like, oh, I can do that. And then you die. Like, right now. Like, my stealth is almost worn out. And I'm just, like, on tilt right now. But, yeah. Will there be a way to cause the ship to suck things out but not cause radiation? Yes. Close the airlock before it starts radiation. You can usually get 2 or 3 rooms in without doing that, but so the airlocks are overpowered right now. I'm going to tell you that. And I'm taking steps to fix that. So, new thing. Oh, I don't know. Hold on. Is this a thing? I don't think this is a thing right now. Let me see. A4. No. Okay. So, now when you flood a room with radiation, and this is when when asteroids hit, now it can create a vacuum. Or it can glance off the ship and then radiation will just leak. So you don't really know. But when a vacuum hits, it puts pressure on these interior doors and they can break. So there's a chance that the doors can break, and there's also a chance that the doors can break open. So basically, when you're flooding rooms with... And we haven't done it to just normal rooms, but I think it should be the same. So basically, when you're flooding a room with a vacuum, you have to worry that you're going to break doors, and you're going to have to worry that you'll break open doors, which I think puts in a nice little, hey, risk-reward thing, because right now vents are pretty powerful. I mean, airlocks are pretty powerful. Now, you could also say, Tim, you're making this game harder, and the airlocks were the one thing we had when we were run out of things. So maybe I won't make it that they break open. Maybe I'll just make it a smaller chance that they break. But right now, and we already kind of mentioned that there's a cannon. The cannon is a much more powerful thing, and so the cannon has a higher chance of breaking doors and breaking them open. Will there be a way to automatically change the alias when a drone dies or something? So what we're gonna do, and again, so what we want to do is in the alias file, we want to be like, so alias is like go equals blah, or go equals stealth 1, let's say, right? You could just say stealth, and then if you type in go from drone 1, or actually because only one drone has a stealth on it. Anyway, so right now it's like this. It's like alias go equals let's say navigate 1 to R1. So whenever you say go, drone 1 is going to go back to R1. What we want to do is we want to make it so you can say navigate $1 R1, right? So then when you type go space 1, this $1 will get replaced with that first argument, and so it'll execute navigate 1 R1. But then you could also say go 2, and then drone 2 would navigate to R1. And as you can imagine, it could be go $1 $2. So it would be go 1 R8, which is kind of silly because you could probably just alias go to navigate or something like that, but you get the idea. So that like you could do things where you don't assume the drone number because there's a variable in there, and you specify the variable on the command line as an argument. Make some sense? We've said that we were going to do that for a while. We want to do that for a while, but you know, what's more important to us? Like making it so that like when you commandeer ships, that they have a lot of variety, and it's not just how many upgrade slots does it have? Hey, tech ships have the most upgrade slots, so only commandeer tech ships. Or should we make it so that when you're commandeering ships, they have these cool, unique upgrades per ship, and there's a chance of that, and then they have different scrap capacities and different fuel capacities and all that stuff, so that now all of a sudden that metagame is deeper. We chose that. So, you know, and the next update we're choosing story and hopefully some audio. So, you know, things, we have a list of like 800 things, and they're all in some kind of crazy order that we've determined. And so alias variables are a super user kind of thing that we want to put in, but not as important as fleshing out the gameplay stuff right now. So there's my excuse. Yeah, so collect all, gather all, I think is what you mean. Gather all sometimes doesn't, like when you type in gather all as a sequence, like navigate 1 to R6, semicolon, gather all, sometimes it doesn't execute correctly. We know that's a bug, and we'll fix that, but again, you know, where is that on the list of things? You know, it's a little bit lower. Yeah, I do get kind of a little bit paranoid when there's an event, but we know that there are no swarms in this thing, so we're all right. There's so many prison ships because we don't have enough variety of ships, and originally I wanted to make it that we constructed the ship to have a lot of little rooms on the along it, and that would be a prison ship with like a long corridor. But again, our algorithm for ship generation isn't that complicated right now, so we weren't able to do that, or not yet. Oop. I just aliased go to the weirdest thing ever. I forgot you can inline aliases. D14, D27, nav 1 R5, and then I want nav 2 R7 semicolon generator. Would I ever consider evolving the game to have multiplayer feature, co-op survival in the far future? In my opinion, it would inspire more people to buy the game and suppress piracy. The answer to that is yes and no. The answer to that is complicated. So the game was originally, my original design for this game was a co-op game, where one of you controlled the ship and one of you controlled the drones or your character, a person or whatever. One of the reasons I didn't go with that was because that idea wasn't top-down 2D, it was a 3D idea, and that takes money. And the other reason is because I made a game called A Virus Named Tom that I love, and I think a lot of people really like. Do I have a motion sensor on this guy? Oh, I do. D22, this is perfect. And what happened is that about 10% of the people who bought that game ever played co-op. And it had an entire co-op campaign that I designed and I thought was really rad. So what that taught me was, at least for local co-op, to be fair, it wasn't online, it was local. At least for local co-op, like, people tended not to play that. And they also needed a controller. I don't know why I'm exploring all of this shit, because I can't commandeer it, and I'm probably just gonna end up losing a drone, but again, this game is the anti-completionist game. We've got to search that last room. It could have the most cool thing in the world in it, right? Am I right? Am I right? There are also like objectives in the game where you have to scan like every room, and so that's kind of like conditioned me to like explore every room as well. Alright, this is really dumb. Okay, no, what I'm going to do is D25. It would be really dumb to go through that door that has my drone in it, or my other drone in it. But it's not so dumb to go through with a room that's empty. And nothing. Alright. D31. And then can everybody go home? We don't have a way to scan everything, right? Yeah, there's probably something else I can do that I'm forgetting about here, but I'm gonna see who's got the lure. I'm gonna see if I can pick this up. Nah. Wait. Oh man, I thought that he had chewed it a little bit, but it looks like that's a bug. Internal error processing command. If you ever see that, go find your log. There's a way to find your log. We illustrate in the forums, and send that to us because we always want those, and now I have one, which is cool. So I can't commandeer the ship because it is. Oh, you know what I should have done? I should have tried to commandeer the ship because I haven't tested that out, and maybe it would, and that would be a bug. But anyway, so we got a bunch of stuff, and then we go to ship config. We throw our ship surveyor on here, and I can't show you guys the cool breaking of upgrade slots because I haven't played long enough on this thing. Is there anything else that's new? I don't think so. I mean, there's a lot of other stuff that's new in the game, but I didn't, like I said, I didn't make a list, so you don't get to know. So last questions. Will there be a way to save the funny logs? Yeah, your log should save right here. All your logs that you found. Those are persistent across runs. Yeah. Are you going to add the new names from the naming document? It's been a while since they turned gray. So, yes, somebody whom I love decided to sort the ship names. And what happened was everything was in a nice order. And the first chunk we grabbed and we graded them out because they were in the game. And then somebody sorted them. And then, people have updated it since. And so it's not that big of a deal, but it's just kind of obnoxious. So we were debating reverting it back to when it was sorted and trying to save the names that people put in. I just resorted it based on a different column, and things are a little bit better. But yeah, we will try to go and try to do that. The other problem with the log menu that you might be running into NevicLink is that it's not designed beautifully, and I don't know if it scrolls. So it might be that when you get to like 18 logs, we either start overwriting them or whatever. We're gonna fix this. We're gonna make it a bit better. And with the story, the objective, this is gonna be a little bit better. It's gonna have a left column so that we can have more stuff in there. But yeah. The naming doc, oh, you found it? Yeah, if you look, actually in almost all of my YouTube videos, I think I have it at the bottom, and on the forums, there's a pinned post that says links, and there's a link to the naming doc there. I don't know if there's one in the subreddit. The subreddit only lets you, like, pin, like, 2 things to the top, so I can't do what I do in the Steam forums where I have, like, friggin' 20 things pinned. I really need to reorganize that whole forum, make some sub-forums, say, hey, all these crazy posts are in this sub-forum if you care, and have 1 pinned thing, and then in that sub-forum have 5 pinned things that are related to that. I should really do that. Anyway, this is getting pretty boring. So, it looks like we're out of questions. Thank you guys for tuning in, as always. It's really fun. I hope that we're going to be able to get this out hopefully Monday or Tuesday to the future branch, and then after if you guys can rock on it and let us know if anything's wrong with it, hopefully we can do an update with a video either at the end of that week or the beginning of the following week, so we can get it all in for Turkey Day, and then I can stop the and then I can turn off the Halloween upgrade so that everybody that doesn't know that there's a Halloween skin on there and goes in to play the game and sees all these candy corns and says this isn't scary, that'll all stop. Oh, that's another thing I want to, last second, that's another thing. Someone had the idea to turn the reticles off, and it's pretty creepy. So I want to add that into settings that you can turn the reticles off, because then you just see the enemy and you don't get that nice red box that says there's an enemy there. Oh, you do like the Halloween skin? Thank you. I wish we could have had more time to do more costumes for more drones. But I think having just the one special one that you kind of either have to find or hope to start with is kind of fun. Thank you so much for making such an amazing game. I love your work, and you inspire me to become a developer myself one day. That is awesome. Thank you very much. It's awesome to hear that. I'm saddened that you want to become a developer, because it's a painful life, but it's pretty fulfilling. If you can, well, actually that's not true. Being a developer can be very lucrative. Being an independent game developer, that's a different story. But yeah, cool. But yeah, oh, it makes the enemies look like enemies. Yeah, that with the skin, I get that. Okay, cool. Well, anyway, thanks so much for stopping by, guys. I'll try and post this on YouTube, and then hopefully I'll have an update video that summarizes all this cool stuff and bulletproofs it. Actually, if you guys could really help, if you guys, when this launches, if you guys can jump onto the future branch and just test it, like either clear your data and re-go through, or if you don't want to do that, just reset and then play through a little bit and try out all the new features, and I'm sure there'll be plenty of bugs, but hopefully not ones that are too bad. And if you guys report them quickly, then we can fix them and get them in the game quickly, so that we can then start working on the next updates. We can get more stuff in the game. I'm looking like Brad Pitt on 12 Monkeys. Yeah, so